Donald Trump's documents trial is officially scheduled for May 20th, 2024, and reactions to this decision are mixed. Intrigued? Then click that like, subscribe, and the alert bell, and maybe check out my Patreon, and enjoy the video. All right, folks, so we got the first big news surrounding Donald Trump's trial for the willful retention of national defense information, 38 charges or so that were brought against him by special counsel Jack Smith. Now, basically, the Justice Department under Jack Smith, they were looking for a speedy trial, an accelerated trial, because presumably they want to get this done before the 2024 election, which could be to Donald Trump's benefit and also to the Justice Department's benefit, because obviously, if he's guilty, which obviously they think he is, and the evidence seems to indicate as much, they don't want this man to become president and effectively get a get-out-of-jail-free card. Whereas Donald Trump's attorneys wanted to delay the trial until after the 2024 presidential election. They made that request of the presiding judge, and they said, listen, Donald Trump's running for president. You know, this trial would be incredibly demanding. He's facing other potential indictments as well. His workload, his schedule is just way too busy. Let's schedule this until after the 2024 election when he's no longer running for president. Now, obviously, what they and Trump are banking on is the idea that he would win the election and therefore would have another 4 years in office and potentially just either delay any sort of trial and potential conviction and potential consequences because, again, he's a former president, so they think he should get a get-out-of-jail-free card. He's running for president, so they think that that also carries with it a get-out-of-jail-free card. And then, of course, when you are the sitting president, you do get a get-out-of-jail-free card during your presidential tenure due to a Justice Department tradition where you can't indict a sitting president. Now, the presiding judge in this case is a Trump-appointed presiding judge, Aileen Cannon, okay, and we talked about that in previous videos, just the sheer dumb cosmic luck that she would be the one assigned this case, but she scheduled the trial not for August 2023, which is what the Justice Department wanted, and not indefinitely until sometime after November 2024, but in May 20th, 2024. Judge Aileen Cannon rejected Donald Trump's request to delay the trial until after the election, but pushed the start date well past the Justice Department's request to begin in December. Okay, I apologize. I thought it was August. They wanted to begin in December. The federal judge overseeing Donald Trump's prosecution on charges of illegally retaining dozens of classified documents set a trial date for May 20th, 2024, taking a middle position between the government's request to go to trial in December and Trump's desire to push the proceeding until after the 2024 election. Cannon said that the trial was to be held in her home courthouse in Fort Pierce, Florida, a coastal city 2.5 hours north of Miami that will draw its jury pool from several counties that Trump won handily in his two previous presidential campaigns. That's an important thing to remember. Florida is overwhelmingly a MAGA state, so the state collectively is Trump territory. It's a home turf advantage, home field advantage for Trump in terms of jury selection. But even the specific counties in which this trial will take place, they are also red counties that Trump won in 2020 and in 2016. Let's see. The scheduling order came after a contentious hearing on Thursday at the federal courthouse in Fort Pierce, where prosecutors working for the special counsel Jack Smith and lawyers for Mr. Trump sparred over on when to hold the trial. The date Judge Cannon chose to start the trial falls after the bulk of the primary contest, okay, because obviously we're in election season right now. So there will be a number of debates between now and the trial, and obviously the primary field will narrow. But the Republican National Convention Committee, in which they formally select the Republican nominee, that won't begin until after the trial begins. I think it's it's July. It starts in July of 2024. And so basically, by the time that the Republican National Convention goes to make their nominee, the trial, if this date holds, and that's a big if, will have taken place for about 6 weeks or so. So yeah, this is, I don't know what to make of this. Obviously, I'm not an attorney, but the legal commentary is really interesting because reactions are mixed. And I basically discount the reactions of conservatives and Republicans because, again, they don't want this trial to take place at all. They wanted it to occur after the 2024 election. So this is a defeat in their eyes regardless, because the trial will potentially take place before the election begins and therefore potentially influence the way that people vote. But the reactions among people on the left or liberals or the anti-Trump contingent, again, it's kind of mixed. So you have Peter Strzok, who was an FBI investigator who was part of the Mueller investigation before he was discharged, a well-known critic and disliker of Donald Trump. He doesn't think the trial is going to happen before the election because not only does it officially begin in May 20th, but it's built in such a way that Trump's attorneys are obviously going to, they're going to file every number of delaying motions they possibly can. And given that Aileen Cannon is a Trump-appointed U.S. judge, Strzok and others believe that she is probably predisposed to grant them those delays. Glenn Kirshner, who is a former DOJ official who I follow quite a bit, he says that Trump's federal trial for the documents obstruction espionage case should have been set earlier, but it will be months. It will be over months before the November 2024 election, so people will know if they're voting for a convicted felon or a completely exonerated man. Again, that's assuming that the date holds and that the number of pretrial delaying motions that Trump's attorneys will attempt to file, that's assuming they're not granted, which is very possible that they will. But regardless, this is potentially good news. This is, and actually, you know what? I do want to bring something else. Elie Mystal, who is he's a progressive legal commentator, an outspoken critic of establishment Democrats and the Biden administration, kind of a cynic, and I sympathize. I can empathize with that because I am a cynic as well. He actually kind of offered a tentative, optimistic note. He said, Trump judge Aileen Cannon delays Trump's trial from this August to May 20th, 2024. It's a massive delay, as I promised you it would be. But here's the thing. If this date holds, it would be a massive win. Getting to trial before the RNC is the goal here. So even he's somewhat optimistic about this, which if cynics are, I suggest that you might be as well.